Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable Members of this August House, my fellow Fijians, Nisambula Vinaka, and a very good afternoon to you all. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise with pleasure to address this August House on the 2020-2021 budget allocated to the Ministry for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation. Our ministry has had several increases in the budget allocations for the past few years, and it is the same for the next fiscal year. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the 11th of March 2020, the World Health Organization classified COVID-19 as a global pandemic. Since then, most countries are facing unprecedented challenges from COVID-19, and the challenge to governments is even more extreme, as the impact on people all over the world continues to grow. The pandemic is impacting people daily from all angles: health, economics, social, logistics, politics, education, relationships, and much more. The spread of COVID-19 is nothing short of a wildfire in a drought. But the remarkable thing about Fiji is how well we managed to flatten the curve within an unimaginable period of time. It was also remarkable how quickly the Fiji First government responded through a supplementary budget to prepare us economically to sustain the country from the crippling effects of this pandemic. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Fijian government, at a time of a crisis that no country had prepared for, made quick and tough decisions to control the spread of the virus while addressing the economic demands of the situation. This very evidently illustrates the clarity, the promptness, and the principles this government channels when it deals with the lives of Fijians. If the term quick response had a face, it would be the Fiji First government's. And for this, I wish to thank the Honorable Prime Minister for steering this government in a direction that puts its people first and foremost. I thank the Prime Minister for being a leader who thinks not only for today, but tomorrow as well. Mr. Speaker, sir, they say by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. This government and the upcoming fiscal year's budget is a budget for preparedness, because the Fijian government does not wish to fail our people, our coming generations at any cost. The progressive ideas, the proactive measures and forward thinking applied in the 2021 budget preparation is indeed extraordinary, and I thank and applaud the Honorable Attorney General and the Minister for Economy and his team for giving us a budget that not only addresses the challenges of the people, but also provides a platform to revive the economy. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is so welcoming to note that even the United Nations has commended the Fijian government for a bold and courageous budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, this new budget continues to prioritize what matters to our people: free education, free medicine, housing benefits, social protection for the vulnerable members of the society, subsidies on utilities, tax reductions to cushion the losses felt by the tourism sector, ease on student loan repayments, ease in establishing and running SMEs, and much more. Mr. Speaker, sir, the supplementary budget debate that happened in this August House some months ago was a perfect indication of how the political agenda remains the only agenda of our friends on the other side of the House. From demanding pay cuts for the civil servants in an attempt to save their own benefits being reduced, to outright saying that government brought COVID-19 into Fiji, and even saying that the Ministry of Health had done nothing. These appalling remarks made me wonder if the Fijian people and our progress as a nation is ever a priority to the opposition. Mr. Speaker, sir, in light of the measures announced by the Honorable Attorney General, there isn't much to debate. We have yet again come up with a straightforward, strategic approach with the interest of our Fijian families at heart to deal with this crisis and ensure that there is sustainability and stimulation of activity in our economy. Our leaders have managed to meet and collaborate with businesses and financial institutions to devise a practical solution to cater for our current economic needs. We aren't cutting pay cuts of ordinary Fijians in the civil service. We aren't abandoning government's ongoing incentives to the most vulnerable segments of the Fijian population. Instead, we are financially securing the most vulnerable through the continued allotment of budget for all of our social protection programs. Mr. Speaker, sir, in my capacity as Assistant Minister, I have been entrusted with the responsibility of progressing programs related to persons living with disabilities in Fiji. And the 2021 budget is yet another reminder that the Fijian government has the best interest of its most vulnerable population at heart, no matter what the crisis is. Mr. Speaker, sir, 10% of the Fijian population is estimated to be made up of persons living with disabilities, or more accurately, persons with special abilities. These persons are equally entitled to constitutional equality and human rights, and we are here as leaders of this country to ensure that they are not left behind while we take Fiji forward. Mr. Speaker, sir, persons with disabilities often encounter discrimination and exclusion on a daily basis. This means, in particular, pervasive exclusion from development programs and funds, education, employment, healthcare services, communication, information, infrastructure, economic empowerment programs, and transport services. In addition, the effects of climate change, such as natural disasters, food insecurity, conflict situations, and global pandemics, one of which we are currently facing, make persons with disabilities disproportionately affected. But the good news is, Mr. Speaker, sir, this is changing for Fiji, and this change is a result of the collaborative and concerted efforts of government, civil society, organizations, development partners, and communities. For example, in older times, deaf persons would not have been able to watch the parliamentary sitting, and what we talk about and decide about them as Fijians in here. The Fijian government did not limit this change to parliamentary sessions, but also ensured that each time a press conference was held by the government in relation to COVID-19, an interpreter always stood beside the speaker. And I also take this opportunity to call out the cyberbullying that one of the interpreters was subjected to. And that has been an excellent indicator of how discriminatory, derogatory, and despicable the mentality still is around persons living with disability. This mentality needs to go, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Fiji First government continues to support the welfare needs of persons living with disabilities through social protection programs, and the political will is evident in the budget allocation for all this in the fiscal year 2020-2021. Mr. Speaker, sir, the 2020-2021 budget has seen a great increase in the grant towards the Fiji National Council for Disabled Persons, which is tasked to reach out to people in rural areas and ensure that there is disability development in Fiji. Government has allocated $500,000 to the FNCDP, $150,000 more from the supplementary budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, the disability allowance by the Fijian government continues in the new fiscal year, an allocation of $9.355 million, which is an increase of $3 million from the COVID supplementary budget and over $4 million from the original 2019-2020 budget. This program currently assists over 7,000 beneficiaries. The continuance of this program will ease the financial burden on low-income earning families who look after their loved ones with disabilities, but are challenged with the additional cost in catering for their special needs. The $90 per head allowance per month is also the only source of financial support to some, as they are not in a position to support themselves due to their disabilities. The Ministry is extremely thankful for the political will of the Fiji First government shown through this allocation to improve the status of the disabled persons in Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is no myth that governments cannot work in silos. We have always benefited well from partners with the civil society, and the disability NGOs have been instrumental in lobbying for the rights and issues of people living with disabilities. The allocation of $400,000 grant to these organizations and an increase of $200,000 from the COVID supplementary budget is to strengthen them in their operations and programs to provide greater service to Fijians living with disabilities and also adequately represent them in decision making. I cannot stress enough that the alliance between government and non-governmental sectors, including faith-based organizations and the private sector, is crucial if we are to make good progress in creating a right-based, fully inclusive and barrier-free society in Fiji. I wish to convey my heartfelt appreciation to the disability organizations in Fiji, particularly for raising COVID-19 related awareness with the Fijians living with disabilities. In tough times like these, they have been very important helpers of the government. Thank you so much. Mr. Speaker, sir, at this point, I wish to mention and commend our REACH project team because they play a very important role in taking services to those who cannot come to us. This phenomenal outreach program is especially useful for persons living with disabilities in rural communities, and more so now with the need to maintain social distancing. The project is also supported by the government with an allocation of $150,000 for the upcoming fiscal year. Aligned to the government's commitment to ensure access to equal rights and justice, the Fijian government has allocated $20,000 for the economic empowerment of persons living with disabilities and $50,000 for the implementation of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2018 in the 2020-2021 fiscal year. Overall, we are very satisfied with the budget allocated to support the needs and development of Fijians living with disabilities, and I must add, we should only consume as much as we can digest. Every time you see somebody standing up, oh, this ministry should have got more, or the other ministry should have got more. Right now, we have enough to chew. These allocations are adequate to execute the plans the ministry has in place for persons living with disabilities in the next 12 months.
Order.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in my capacity as the Assistant Minister for Women, I'd be failing in my duty if I do not acknowledge the vital role women play in this fight against COVID-19. Our mothers play a critical role in ensuring that our families practice good hygiene and ensure that our children are safe in our homes. I urge our mothers, be on the front line and to keep our families safe in these difficult times. Take care of the mental health of your loved ones, as stress and depression in these times will only harm our ability to recover. I encourage the women listening today to make use of the opportunity that government has provided with this budget, especially in terms of entrepreneurial incentives. You are gifted and you have the ability to translate your gifts to incomes, so go for it. Mr. Speaker, sir, at this juncture, may I add that we must immensely be proud that a woman is leading our battle against COVID-19 from the front line. And I take this time to thank Dr. Alisha Salkan, the head of health protection at the Ministry for Health, and a team, together with the hundreds of our nurses, doctors, discipline forces staff, for their commitment and diligence in carrying their call of duty. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is rather unfortunate that the members of the opposition fail to understand the depth of character illustrated in the 2020-2021 national budget. Perhaps they were too preoccupied with other agendas. Any person with a sense of economic understanding will fortify the fact that impacts of tax reforms, entrepreneurial incentives and other benefits will trickle down to the pockets of an ordinary Fijian. Not only does this budget have a Fijian people at heart, it naturally addresses day-to-day issues that encircle our people and provides a plethora of opportunities that objectifies our journey to pre-COVID economic wellness. However, one must have an eye for visionary concepts to understand this. And our friends on the other side of the house are unfortunately entangled in their own imagination and agendas, or should I say intellectual limitations. Mr. Speaker, sir, we can fight this crisis, but not alone. We can overcome this, but not alone. So let's unite and show this coronavirus that we are stronger than it is and that we will not succumb to it, but we will overcome it, fight it. I would like to close with a promise that the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation is equipped to look after the welfare of those living with disabilities, even in a crisis. And with the new budget, we are ready to take on the challenge to continue to assist them. We will continue to reach out to Fijians living with disabilities at the community levels to the best of our capacity to ensure they are heard and they are helped. Mr. Speaker, before I say thank you, before another opposition member stands up and says and talks about the closing down of the embassies, I must remind them, closing down of embassies does not mean closing down of services. The services will continue, so please be reminded. And thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving us the time,
Order.
for giving me the time.
Order.
I fully support this budget. Thank
Order.
you. Vinaka Bakalevu.